survey by Cooper and Associate of 9,265 internet users found that 8.5% were sexually compulsive of addictive. These cybersex users spent at least 11 hours per week in online sexual pursuit. They were considered addicts because they generally denied their online sexual activities and continued going online despite poor academic or job performance, relationship difficulties, job loss, sexual harassment suits, arrests, failed relationships, or other adverse consequences. Approximately 1% of the cybersex addicts in a follow-up analysis of the groundbreaking Cooper Cybersex survey had a lengthy history of sexual obsession and compulsions that preceded their discovery of sex on the internet. According to the provided statistics, 7.5% of internet users developed a porn addiction without being previously predisposed. It is estimated that well over 60 million people in the U.S. purposely visit internet porn websites. According to ComScore Media Matrix, there were 63.4 million unique visitors to adult websites in December of 2005, viewing over 15 billion pages of adult content. 8.5% out of 60 million people means that there are over 5.1 million people currently addicted to pornography in U.S. alone, which is more than the population of Los Angeles, San Jose, and San Francisco combined. Out of these people, 4.5 million would not have become addicted if it was not for internet pornography. And with the number of internet users constantly increasing, these numbers are very likely to go up. Cybersex addicts, like any other addicts, become preoccupied with their addiction and stop being responsible members of a society. Here is how two of the porn addicts describe their condition. While many hours at a time were wasted in this endeavor, it has never seemed to really satisfy me. Oh, it would be for the moment, or a while I was actually viewing the files, but the letdown and guilt afterwards was a real downer. I found myself risking everything, my wife, my family, my reputation, in pursuit of this compulsion. It was when I began to view it as a compulsion that I knew I had a serious problem. But I did not and could not stop. It was only when my wife found some web temp pornographic files on our home computer that I was forced to finally confront the problem. This is by a 47-year-old married man. Cybersex used to consume my life. I was to the point where just closing my eyes would bring an uncomfortable need to feed my addictive fantasies. The pictures viewed would haunt me day and night. I couldn't look at another person without some filthy thought coming into my mind. A 35-year-old married woman. Many people disagree with the notion that pornography can be addictive. After all, they were taught pornography viewing is a healthy exploration of one's sexuality. Empowered by the belief that many men and women engage in pornography viewing as a temporary means to combat their loneliness or as a fun thing to do, certain that when they need to be, they will be able to stop. In a matter of fact, the majority does not realize that their behaviors exceed the limits of normality until after they are confronted by their loved ones. It is not coincidence that sexologists have been prescribing pornography as a medical treatment. Pornography viewing causes the human body to produce a full spectrum of chemicals. These chemicals, as any other drug, can be helpful if taken in small portions and harmful if taken in dosage that can be abused. It is often easier to understand addiction to as a substance than to a behavior. The reality is that arousing or stimulating activities can be highly addictive for some according to how it affects their brain chemistry, whereas drug and alcohol addictions can be defined as a problematic relationship to a mood-altering substance. Sex addiction can be defined as a problematic relationship to a mood-altering experience. In his book, The Drug of the New Millennium, The Brain Science Behind Internet Pornography Use by Mark B. Castleman provides a very detailed description of the process that takes place inside a pornography viewer's brain. But in order to understand this process, it is important to examine how the mechanism was designed to work during the regular sexual intercourse. He describes the process as going down a funnel until the climax is reached. Once the climax is reached, a couple slowly begins to emerge back to reality. The narrowing process of the healthy marriage. In a healthy marital relationship, sexual intimacy creates powerful physical, emotional, and chemical changes. A narrowing process. At the top of the funnel, the married couple enjoys a wide perspective of the world and the people around them. Then, as they become physically intimate, their brains begin to narrow in focus. Climax is the most narrowly and powerfully focused singular event that the brain can engage in. In order to achieve this place, the brain must narrowly focus its attention and block out all distractions, work, the children, and paying bills. The release of natural chemicals. To aid this narrowing process, the brain begin releasing a flood of endogenous, meaning produced from within chemicals. These natural chemicals include the following. Dopamine. Elevated levels of dopamine in the brain produce extremely focused attention. This chemical causes each spouse to focus intensely on the other at the exclusion of everything else around them. A release of dopamine is associated with craving and dependency in addiction, which may be why it can help produce a healthy attraction and dependency between the spouses. Norepinephrine. This chemical generates exhilaration and increased energy by giving the body a shot of natural adrenaline. Norepinephrine has also been linked to raising memory capacity. Whatever stimulus is being experienced in the presence of this chemical is seared in the brain. This helps explain how a couple in love can remember the smallest details of their beloved features. Testosterone. Testosterone is known as the hormone of sexual desire in both men and women. For men, however, it is the key of hormone desire, triggering feeling of positive energy and well-being. Oxytocin. The flood of oxytocin at climax acts as a natural tranquilizer, lowering blood pressure, blunting sensitivity to pain and stress, and inducing sleep. Serotonin. This natural chemical is released right after climax, bringing on deep feeling of calmness, satisfaction, and release from stress. Antidepressants, like Prozac, are designed to increase levels of serotonin. The experience is more than just physical. A husband and wife move down the funnel together. There is more to the experience than just chemicals released in the physical body. The mind, the heart, and the spirit are all joined together. A climax of many things, the final crescendo represents accumulation of all the things husband and wife have shared, doing the dishes, paying the bills, raising the children, all that make up a marriage. Just like in a marriage, a pornography viewer goes through the similar process. The involved chemicals, however, produce a completely different result. The narrowing process of internet porn. When an individual enters the funnel through the viewing of pornography, the physical and chemical process are virtually identical to those in marital sexual intimacy, but with some radical differences. A narrowing process. At the top of the funnel, before beginning to view pornography, the individual enjoys a wide perspective of the world. Pornography addicts describe the top of the funnel as reality, their public self. Just as in the marriage funnel, the porn viewer begins blocking out distractions, but he is blocking out much more. He is alone. The object of the narrowing is pornographic images. So along with work, paying bills, he also begins blocking out all thoughts of God, his marriage, his family, his morals, his commitments,